There's figure 1 from 84 through 2011. You can look at issues of race and ethnicity and how it has increased. You can look at age and education. There's so many different sort of data sets here. One of the things, though, that I was particularly interested in, because I mean, even though they're talking about all this stuff, there still is that digital divide that I'm always very, very concerned with. In fact, the chapter sort of goes back to talk about digital divide later on. But if you scroll, if you go to this, because I can't force you to do it, but if you go to this and you scroll down to what is page 9, and it says percent of highly connected individuals by state. And it has significance as compared to the national average. The dark red, significantly higher. Sort of the medium pink, no significant difference. The lighter pink, significantly lower. Where do you think South Carolina ranks? If you guessed significantly lower than the national average, for the percent of highly connected individuals, ding, 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 you are correct. Shocker. If you keep on going, percent of non-connected individuals, non-connected individuals, sort of same thing. Dark red, significantly higher than the national average. Medium, sort of pinkish, no significant difference. Significantly lower is the really light pink. South Carolina is very dark red here. So South Carolina is significantly higher than the national average when it comes to people who are not connected to the internet. So it's sort of interesting to sort of bring this home. And there's more issues of smartphone use. Thankfully in South Carolina, this is figure 5, there is no significant difference between South Carolina and the national average for smartphone use. And there's some more stuff in here that I'll let you look at, but it's just more up to date than what the book actually has. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and hopefully you will get that or look at it, because one of the things I think we need to do, particularly here in South Carolina, is to get more people on the internet, to have access to it. That is a sort of a social justice issue, and I think that's important for us to consider. Particularly since you are going to a liberal arts college that is invested in issues of social justice. So always think about that type of stuff when you're reading through this type of stuff. Now I do like the information on old people. Always like old people. By the way, CMC and old people. I posted this on my personal Facebook, and I didn't put it on my college Facebook. But it's really interesting. If you could find it, take a look at it. There is this program, I can't remember what it's called, but basically it's in Brazil, and it's trying for kids in Brazil who are trying to learn English and need to have conversational partners. They have paired up with men and women who are in U.S. nursing homes or retirement homes, whatever the most appropriate term to use there. And through Skype, they have conversations, and it's brilliant. I mean, it's great stuff. But so old people. On the bottom of page 268, they talk about old people. I shouldn't say old people. The overly matured. It says, it is important to note that according to the Pew Research Center's Internet and American Life project spanning 2006 to 2008, the largest increase of Internet use is seen in the 70 to 75-year-old age group, with 26% of that group online in 2005 and 45% of that same group online in 2008. That's a pretty big leap, and I didn't go back to look what it is right now. But that's pretty interesting, and particularly with this larger issue of health communication. What are they going online for? There's some other research that I have seen that, again, I talked before about Silver Surfers, and it's a little bit older research, but what do you think the main thing that these quite mature people are looking for online? Health information. That's what they're looking for. And so that's really, really interesting to me. But again, I still think the digital divide exists, and we were thinking in terms, and I think they're obviously thinking in terms of the United States, but think globally. I mean, we are so blessed here in the United States in so many different ways. If you go look at the global statistics, I mean, it's quite a privilege to have access to the internet, to CMC and all that type of stuff. So all that stuff still exists, and they talk about that a little bit, and they talk a little bit more about some demographic information. The last paragraph in this section is interesting, and I thought that, I mean, in a nutshell, it's basically saying that lots of people are going to go see, go to the internet to look at stuff. And so basically, apart from the ethnicity and the educated and all that information, that again, there's more up-to-date stuff on that link. But some reasons for this trend, blah, 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 blah. Okay, based upon this evidence of widespread internet use and health information interest, there is no reason not to believe that as remote and undeserved areas increase their access levels, improved internet-based consumerism will continue to escalate in numbers and demographic representation. And I hope so. So we need to get access, more rural access to this type of service, CMC generally, so they can access health providers. So they have some demographics there to try to set up, okay, who has access, who doesn't have access, who's accessing it more, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The next slide I have here, slide 5 we are now on. What do the patients want? So out of the whole provider-patient communication relationship generally, what do they want? And there's this big old laundry list of things that they say, according I think to Suggs from 2006, patients generally want. And so I have this sort of laundry list for you. Maintain and improve health. Duh. Yeah, that's what I want my provider to do. I don't go to the doctor to make me sick, though sometimes that happens. Prevent disease and illness. Improve lifestyle behaviors, reduce risk factors for disease, increase compliance with a medication or treatment plan, improve self-managing strategies, provide social support, help with decisions about health, locate and retrieve reliable health information. So there's a lot of things. Boy, patients are demanding. What else do you want? A sucker? But in any case, all of this stuff has been usually done face-to-face, and so basically all this little section, or all they're setting it up to say, is that a lot of this stuff now is being done, or some of it at least is being done through CMC. So, we want lots as patients. Now the book then goes back to the digital divide. And by the way, you notice that there's like 4 different authors here, and then they thank Dr. Matthew M. Martin for that for comments made on drafts. But you can sort of tell, you can always tell this when there's like lots of authors for a different for the same chapter or article. You can hear or read their different voices, and sometimes it's as if others didn't read other sections, so the final draft, as they're throwing it together to meet publication deadlines, doesn't really jive with one another. And so while one would think that the digital divide information would have been in the demographic section, it ain't. Probably because they weren't talking to one another. Communication scholars are good at being scholarly, but they're not good at communicating. So basically, he talks, or the authors talk more about the digital divide when it comes to patient perspectives and what different patients. Well, there's so much stuff in there. I'll let you read it, but basically, they have some really interesting stuff. I think in the middle of page 270, and it's continuing this trend that's really important to me. And that is trying to help those that are marginalized in society. So this is what they say here. Again, something that's I think is really something to take note here. For example, middle paragraph 270. The elderly, African Americans, and Hispanics are especially affected by health literacy. Consideration of the patient's level of understanding during treatment is not routinely assessed by many healthcare providers. It should be. Disparities such as these marginalized populations creating a digital divide that cannot be ignored in the pursuit of equal treatment and care that is desired for all patients in the 21st century. At this point in time, electronic interactions between patient and provider, given the necessary access and equipment, can actually contribute to marginalizing a segment of the American population that does not have access to such benefits. It makes Finnegan angry. So basically they're saying as more and more people are using CMC, it's the people who can afford it. And so the people who are already marginalized become even more marginalized. And so again, we need to make sure that folks are getting access to CMC. Right, Finnegan? He just said right. Yeah. Okay. So the next bit is just all about emailing your doctors. There's a lot of stuff about email in this particular chapter. There's some things about on the bottom of page 270 that I thought, I have never emailed my doctor. I've never even thought about emailing my doctor. My doctor has never even suggested that, well, why don't you email me? So maybe I need a new doctor. I don't know. But it's sort of interesting. But you got to set up some sort of agreement, contract, apparently. So here's the thing. Bottom of 270, basically talking about patients and providers and patients emailing one another. Those who do choose to use emails, or those who do choose to use emails and obtain information from online resources, have the advantage of enhanced patient-centered care. As Rotter et al. Found, email messages between patients and physicians mimic the same communication dynamics as traditional medical dialogue, whether it be face-to-face or over the telephone. Although physicians respond through emails with shorter dialogues than patients, how could they be any shorter? The email facilitates informal tasks and enhances emotional support and partnership with physicians. In short, Rotter et al. State email has the potential to support the doctor-patient relationship by providing a medium through which patients can express worries and concerns, and physicians can be patient-centered in response. So if you don't have a doctor who won't email you, shop around, I guess. But it seems like it's a good thing. It sounds like it could be abused, but it sounds like it's a really good thing. Okay, so now we are on to 7. That's all what patients think, and some of the research that says, about the digital divide and the pros of emailing, doctor-patient emails. What do providers think? It does put a burden, obviously, on providers. And basically they say that there's promise, but also there are problems. And they say we will go through a lot of growing pains. So that's why I put the little picture there, the cast from Growing Pains. And I think pretty much every one of them are all screwed up. So yeah, it's going to be a tough sort of complex process here of figuring out how to best manage all this